recording. G'day everybody, it's Melissa Jensen. Welcome to Melissa's Casual Chats, episode number 1. I'm so proud today to have you all listening to this and watching it. You're all amazing winners. My first guest here, I'm so happy to have, who is an amazing winner, another author. Also, we also have something else in common, don't we? Allison Rose Clark, welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you, Mel. Yes, we do have one thing in common, and that is we're birthday twins. Yay!
Both Geminis, which finishes today.
Yep. Yes, it does. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just tell us a bit about yourself, sort of thing. I know I've read your book, which was fantastic. So tell us a bit about yourself growing up that people don't actually know that we can reveal as a G rating today.
Okay, so well, I've grown up on the south coast of New South Wales, Australia, and I grew up in a fairly, as normal as life family can be.
Whatever normal is.
Dysfunctions, it's everyone's dysfunctional family.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, I grew up being bullied. So, a lot of people have been bullied, plus some other things that I won't go into because it's G-rated, but I'll just say that it's abuse. Because that's G-rated. Like, I'm not going to go into detail.
Okay. So, no worries. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. So I went through a lot of bad things, and so it affected the way that I felt about myself, and I didn't like myself. I hated myself, and I let people just treat me however they wanted to treat me. Really, I didn't speak up. I was shy. I was fearful. I was just scared a lot of the times of what would happen if I did stand up for myself. One day I just said to myself that, I must hate myself to let people treat me badly like that. And so I just decided that I'm going to start doing things that I love, to show myself that I love myself, and to, not put up with other people's bad treatment and actually stand up for myself. And I mean, as soon as you do that, you're going to see a lot of people who take advantage of you just drop away, because they're the ones they can't use you anymore. You're not predictable like you used to be. So that's how I grew up, and how it affected my life. But now today I've written a book about that, saying I don't hate me anymore, which shows people how to love themselves in a step-by-step way. So
and I actually did. I grew up. For me, I was bullied, harassed, controlled by my father. And like when I read your novel, as I said on the review, that I resonated with it. So it resonated with me so much, because there was so much stuff there, and I thought, wow, it just opened those floodgates for me. And that was one reason why it prompted me to actually write My Controlling Father. Yeah. Because I thought it's about time for me to get out there and reveal the truth about him, even though he's been deceased for nearly 11 years. But I thought, everybody says, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. It's disrespectful and all that. But people have got to realise that our parents, they think that they're doing the best for us in our best interest, when they're not. What they're doing is they're actually suppressing how we really feel. And like for you being bullied and all that, I had cousins growing up who, I had one that actually turned around one day and said, do the world a favour and drop dead. That was a cousin. And that would really hurt me. But like, I mean, the same thing for me. Growing up, I was bullied at school. I hated going to school. It really, I mean, if I could have been homeschooled, I would have been a lot better. I would have been able to
Yeah.
go in and be growing up. I wanted to be a journalist. I
Mhm.
wanted to work for Channel 7 at the old studios there in Epping. And that's how far back it was, up there in Sydney. So that's how far
Yeah.
back. That's how far back it was. But like, I mean, it's a lot of people. We are bullied growing up. We are scared to speak out. I mean, people of our generation, that's the way it was, because we accepted that that's how things were. So we accepted how they were. Today, it's a lot different because you now got the internet and having Zoom like we're doing here today. Now, I mean, who
Yeah.
would have thought 2 years ago? Now, you and I have never met personally. We've actually
No.
spoken. This is actually the first time we've actually
This,
spoken as
yeah, it
a
is.
one-to-one sort of thing. So that's why when I was going
Yeah.
to do this series, I thought I'm going to put you first for the two reasons: that one, that we're both
Thank you.
authors, and B, that we're both our birthdays the same day. I thought, no,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
the first person when I was writing down my list and everything like that. But like, I mean,
Well,
one
I'm
of these
honoured.
days,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pleased. I'm honoured to have you here. Oh God, I'm so nervous. But like,
Deep breath.
yeah, I know. But just so, just got to think. I'm trying to keep things in the way. I should have read the book. I should have sat down and read the book. So have you got any plans for a second book to come out or anything like that? Just a bit of a fiction or something like that in the works?
Well, I do have ideas.
Mm.
However, the world runs on money.
Yep.
So I'm working on that, so that there's a children's book series that I've started, and I've written about 6 or 7 stories at the moment, though I've been told that it's a bit long for a children's book. But I don't know, I don't think it is completely. Anyway, that's my opinion. So anyway, I think any age is going to like my books because it's a bit different.
Yep.
So yeah, I've got that in mind, and I do have like, I want to put some of my stories from my blogs into a book too. Yeah, so
That's a good idea.
yeah, just write them off the top of my head.
Yeah. Whereas for me, with my blogs on my website, I just go through and I'll write them. Like I was sitting down today finishing one off called Privacy and Confidentiality, because they're like, and I'm going to finish that off. And I posted a blog this morning called Cancer Sucks, because 30 years ago, my mother was in hospital battling cancer. So which means it's been a tough time for me, sort of thing. But and like, we all learn from our journeys. And like with your books, have you thought about, like, I've got my Mel's Journey series. It's all broken up into different parts. Have you thought about doing the children's book as breaking it up into parts? So like you go through and you do, say, Allison's story, part 1, and then, because it actually keeps the interest going with things. And that actually came from Celeste. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so the children's book, I could put it into a single thing.
Yep.
It's called the Untold Story series. So I was aimed at separate books, but if that's a good idea too, is they put them all into one. I know that my blog ones, I'm thinking of just putting them all into one book.
Yep.
So I could do the same with the children's book stories as well. And there's one that I wrote in 2002 called The Magic Bubble. So I've got that one as well, which is a bit longer than the Untold Story series books, but they're all under 1,000 words. So, it should be okay. Yeah. And
I think too, from all the poetry you've got in, Don't Hate Me Anymore, it could actually go in as a book too, with a lot of the poetry you've got there, because I reckon that'd be fantastic. Yeah. Like, I mean, I haven't read the book for what, 8-9 months. And still, like, I was trying to think this morning. I thought, hang on, what's in it? And I couldn't think. But like, I mean, it's like anything, and yeah, it's like anything. Like, like with the children's series there, I mean, kids have got probably about a 2 or 3 minute for
Yeah, it doesn't take long to read it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay,
take that long
okay.
to read it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be good, yeah.
It'll be because it'll be something that they've heard before, but they haven't. There's a backstory, so like, yeah. So there's a backstory to these things, and so that's why I call it the untold story.
I actually think that's a great title.
Yeah. Well, I told my counsellor. Yeah, I told my counsellor, and she said it sounds awesome. She goes, I'd buy him. And the other thing is, I was going to put him in a set. That was the other thing, in a box set or something like that. Yeah. Well, so I haven't decided really, made up my mind yet.
When the universe will decide for you, and will tell you when the right time is, sort of thing. It's like anything.
So at the moment, I just don't have. At the moment, I'm waiting to get enough. Money's what you need to do the things you want to need, and
exactly.
And so I'm working on that. So in the meantime, I've just got the one book, and I'm working on that, getting it out there, and developing a program, and a short little workshop to go with it. So yeah.
Like we were talking earlier, you're saying about you've mentioned this, so I can talk about it, is with the book being out of print right now, have you thought about directly selling it from your website?
Yes, because like you said, my book's out of print at the moment, and that's because there's a problem with the publisher.
Yeah.
And so the contract has been cancelled, but the book's not gone. You know what I mean? The book is still going to be available. It's just I've got to now find another way of printing it, and I am looking at self-publishing it. So just finding a way of self-publishing, and then it can come back. So I'm looking at maybe updating it before it gets printed. So we'll see.
And that's the one thing. Like I love print books, but the thing is, like, when you do, as an author's point of view, I've done a blog post on this, but as an author's point of view, you make an update, it's got to get through. It's got to go back to the printer. It's got to get so I mean, I've never done anything in print, so I don't know how it works, but it can take a few. How long? Okay, when you first published I Don't Hate Me anymore, how long did it take from the time you sent the manuscript in to the time that it actually hit the shelves, or until you actually got a physical copy in your hands? Would have been about 3 to 6 months.
Well, it's interesting you ask that, because I don't want to say bad things about the publisher.
Yeah.
I did have to chase them up a little bit, so it took 18 months. Unfortunately, I had to chase them. There was no communication from them to me, and I had to chase them up to get it finally printed. And there's things after that that have played a big role in ending that contract. It's not something that has, I've just gone, oh, well, I don't want to be with them anymore. They have done the wrong thing by me in some aspects. And so I just thought, well, it's not working. The business relationship isn't working. Let's just end this. And it's a mutual thing that's happened. Just they can't give me the service that they need to give me. And I'm trying to, not say
I know
too much about them, because I'm not saying they're a bad publisher. It's just we're not a fit anymore. Sometimes you get to a certain point and you go, well, this isn't working. I need to find another avenue. So that's pretty much what's happening. And so now I've got to find another avenue. But if I publish it myself, I'll have more control over all the aspects of the book. I won't have, have to deal with someone else. Yeah.
And
so
that's
it'll still be available in ebook as well. It's still going to be available in everything like that.
Well,
so,
that company that I told you about, which is a print on demand, I won't mention them because I'm not sponsored, so I won't mention them. But from what I've heard, I've actually dealt with people who have actually used them, and they said they are fantastic. It does take a little bit. It can take a couple of months for the initial type setting and everything like that. But once you get in, then they've got it there, and you start getting orders for people, and you set how much you want to sell them for. That's not the publishers that does it.
Want.
And that's the thing, and that's what I like. Like for me, I'll get back to the point I was going to make is with between. No. You've actually answered the question. You answered it. But for me, I prefer ebooks over print because I've made so many mistakes. Like when I first published my first novel, there's the one thing which is so important. What is the one thing important in a novel that you must have?
What? You have to have a plot.
Have a plot.
You have to have a plot. You have to have.
What about these? What about these? Quotation marks. Quotation marks. When somebody talks, say, Melissa said, "Oh, g'day, Allison. How are you today?" I just went through and there was no quotation marks. So when I read through and I was reading it, I didn't realise it. It wasn't until I was actually trying to expand, trying to get people to actually notice me about novels, and I uploaded the first chapter of one of my novels, and it got rejected. I thought, hang on, why? They said, you don't have any quotation marks. And I went back and I thought, oh, none of them do. So here I was, I had to pull them all off sale and redo them again. It took me about a week, maybe 2 weeks. Luckily, I wasn't working, so it was all fine. So I pulled everything off, redid them, and then re-uploaded them. Imagine if I'd actually had those in print, and it cost me whatever amount it was to have them printed. And I've got
my book was sorry.
So that's where I love ebooks, because you can make adjustments as you need to, and with the company that you and I are both with our ebooks are with, and I've been so happy with what they've done. But like for them, I just got to upload again. Just make sure I got the metadata all correct. I can actually go through now and I can format virtually with my eyes closed. And like I can have it there today. Like I was thinking about today with one of my novels that I need to actually go and do an update on. And I thought, oh, do I do? I thought, no, I'll let it go. But that's the one thing that I do like about ebooks over print, because you can have everything uploaded and redone and available for sale within a couple of days. Whereas with print, like yours took 18 months for it to be published. I mean, that's a long time.
Well, I had to go through editing processes and get my cover designed and just a few misunderstandings back and forth. So, and because like I said, I had to chase them a little bit on getting moving. That's the only reason why it took 18 months. It shouldn't have taken 18 months. Plus I was paying off a contribution that the actual contract of, printing it and all that stuff didn't actually happen and start until after I'd paid everything. I had to pay that money before they'd start. Which, at the time I thought that's fine, okay, contribution. So I had to pay that off because obviously I didn't have a lump sum at the time to pay it. So I paid it off. But with a manuscript, because it's all digital now, it wouldn't take that much to just redo a few things. And because it's going to be, it's the same information that's going into the ebook. And yeah, printing, and they print it on demand as well. So I just, so that's what I want to do. But I just thought I might update it, because since writing it, there's been a few things that I can actually put in there that will reinforce other things that's in my book. Don't want to be really, it's about loving yourself. So there's things that have happened with ex-boyfriends, where I've stood up for myself. That sort of thing is what I want to maybe put into the book. And it would have to be a separate chapter at the end or something like that. So
and that's the thing. It's like,
and it'll have a different cover and everything. So
that's good.
It's going to look different. So all of those things I'm working on. So hopefully it won't be too long before it comes back, because there's a lot of interest in my book that
Yes. I've actually been
available.
I've been sharing the link lately quite a fair bit, and people saying it's not available. I said, I didn't realise. And I'm just saying to people, just hold off. As soon as I know it's all fine, then I'll give you all the updated links and everything like that. Like, no one knows about this chat today. I've kept it quiet with who it's going to be. And like, I mean, it's like anything. Like, it'll be a great book. And I think you will succeed and everything like that. But like,
it is a great book. People are actually wanting to buy it, and I have to tell them that it's on hold. So they can get it as a second-hand book, probably on like Amazon, but they can't get it new, and they won't get an ebook. So it's not being.
What about, like, I had at one stage, I've got with all mine, I've actually got them as different titles, as a separate sale, as an e-novel. So you just go through as a word attachment. You say, okay, you pay X amount of money, and I'll email it to you as an attachment. You watermark it. You also put a header on there, so with people and everything like that. If they say, okay, that's fine to go through, that's probably a good way in the short term for them to do that sort of thing. I've had that. A friend of mine lives actually on the south coast as well. She paid for copies last year, which she loved. But no one wants to sort of buy directly from me, sort of whatever. But it's just an idea, because as authors, we've always got to have Because for me, like, I'm in the process later on this year of trying to get to Sydney to change my surname from Jensen to Seymour, because there is an author by the name of Melissa Jensen, and quite
really?
Well, when I originally published, I was using Melissa Jensen, and then I was actually getting emails about her books, and she was getting emails about mine. So she emailed me and said, "Hey, can you do something about this? Because I'm getting sick and tired of getting your emails." I said, "Yeah, and I'm getting yours." And then when somebody went and told lies about me, it gave me a good reason to get rid of everything. And Seymour was actually my mother's maiden name. And it was just sort of, I thought, okay, I'm going to go with Seymour. So I thought that's a better way of doing this sort of thing. And that's where I publish now as M.A. Seymour, because it makes me closer to mum, makes me closer. And I thought this way it gets me away from this other one I think she's based in San Francisco. And that's good. And there's been no more emails or anything like that, so it's all been fine. But I still, I mean, it's good, because people say, hang on, you're saying Seymour, like on Instagram there. Like, I'm down there as Mr. Seymour, and people say, hang on, you're saying Seymour there, but you're another different name. What's going on? And like most authors, a lot of
one.
And that's the thing. Like,
she is a damn hay fever.
I've got mine because of my teeth. I don't have COVID. I came back as not detected last week, so I'm very happy about that. I get the first jab next week. Not looking forward to it. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I mean, as much as I don't have anything against my surname, but I just feel that I resonate
Yeah, of course.
more towards Seymour because of my family and
Yeah.
everything like that. And I don't know, it's just something that I feel more comfortable with. It's just going to mean having to find different signature. That's kind of because I've had the
That's
M Jensen.
yeah.
I've had the M Jensen, like all my birth name was started with M. My
Yeah.
first time around as a female, it started with M. Then coming back and then going back in, it's all been the same signature. So now I've got to work
Yeah.
out different, thinking, how am I going to do it? So I've got to work that out. So, but
Yeah.
I'll work it out. I've got
Oh yeah,
another.
you'll
I've
work
got
it
about
out.
another. Yeah. I'm hoping to get up probably late December, early January if I can, depending on how finances go and the borders getting opening up and everything like that. So now that Victoria's actually got our cases going down, hopefully the borders will get reopened again soon.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So yeah, I mean, it's like anything, but I know with your book, we all have setbacks. It'll get released again,
Yeah.
and it'll be all fine. The same with
Yeah.
mine. Like I
Not gone
posted.
forever. Yeah.
I posted yesterday that three of my novels, which contain one particular character who's based on a real person, I think. I've actually decided that all royalties, well, I'm pretty certain the person is real. All royalties from those three are going to go towards my transgender support centre, which I've called Steely, which is support, training, education, employment, and live-in centre. So it's for people that have been rejected for being themselves. And I think it's a good idea and I want this as revenge against this girl to see that, oh, hang on, look what I've missed out on. And like, I mean, she can't come back and say, oh, hang on, that's based on me. I mean, there's no similarities on there or anything like that. I mean, I'm careful.
You'll find,
yeah.
You'll find a lot of fiction characters are based on people that the author knows, because it's it just is like the characters of the people tend to be people you know, because it gives you the best description that you can, in your mind of these people. So a lot lot of novels are like that.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I started writing, when I started writing Mel's journey, it was actually based. I actually pictured the house where I lived at that time, and the family and the next door neighbours, and they're all based on real people. There are the people that come into it in the first couple of chapters. Apart from one, they're all just characters of just people, just whatever. That I don't know. But like the whole lot sort of thing. That there's 6 or 7 that are actually based on real people that I knew growing up, sort of thing. And like, I mean, I loved it. I loved writing it. It actually challenged me. But writing body swap murder mystery, that really challenged me. That really, because I had to sort of go outside my comfort zone, because I'm thinking, how do I do it? How do I? Because I don't have forensic knowledge or detailed law enforcement, so I was having to do it. I thought, how am I going to do this? And I was actually happy with the result. I've had, I think, 15 sales in the 18 months that it's been available, which is not too bad. It's not too bad.
The average of Australian authors is 12, so you're not doing too bad.
No, I think the last one was on Smashville. I said the word, didn't I? I actually might tag them in that when I upload this. But like, and I mean, the same thing is, like, I'm writing another novel at the moment called Murder, but with a question mark. So people don't know if it's murder, disappearance, it's been suicide, or what. Even I don't know. And that's actually making me that's actually making me sort of test my knowledge, or test me, sort of thing, because sort of like I'm thinking, how do I do this one? And I'm sitting there, and I haven't written a word for over a month, but I'll come back and I'll write that again. That's actually going to be exclusive to Mel's Customized Candles Club members. When it gets released, it's going to be exclusive to them. At this stage, it may get released as an ebook. I don't know, but at this stage, it's going to be for my club members, and just see what happens, sort of thing. But but I have about 4 different novels on the go at the moment. But because I've been sort of stressed out and down the dumps and all that, I just can't write. but like you probably know, it probably took you a little while to get your novel written. And like,
well, I wrote mine. If you write a little bit every day, that's like, say, one word at a time, then eventually gets there. So I was writing every day, and sometimes I wrote a full chapter and sometimes I didn't. And it took me maybe 6 months to write it. It depends on, obviously, the size of the book, what you're writing about, your knowledge on the subject you're writing about, how detailed it is, and how simple or complicated of the subject that you're writing about. And so for me, I just wrote it in simple terms that people and everyday people can understand, and not have to get a dictionary and say, what does that word mean? Before having to be moving on.
It's like you put down today's a copacetic day, and
and someone's going, what does that mean?
And that's the thing. Like, I had to do the same thing. I got that in my horoscope one day. I'm thinking, what does copacetic mean? And I pulled it. I thought, okay, it actually means fine. It's just a long way. It's just a long way of saying fine. That's all it is. Just a long way.
Someone was showing off. Someone wanted to show off their vocabulary. Look, I've learned a new word. I'm going to use it in a sentence.
But it also made me think sort of thing. And I thought, okay, well that's a good word to use. But
you got to think of your audience. Who's your book aimed at? Is it aimed at academics and people who are used to reading those words and know what those big words are? Are you talking to the everyday Joe Blow like I am, and you want them to understand your book and get something out of it and understand it and put those things into action? If it's too complicated, they're not going to read it.
And that's what I've actually found with mine. I've been told that mine go into too much detail and a little bit too wordy. So I'm actually thinking about doing a bit of a rewrite and trying to summarize. Do like I don't want to say the word, but a company that actually used to be based in Surrey Hills. We're just condensing them down a bit. But I need to get somebody out there who can sort of do that for me, because for me, I think I need everything in there. But like so far, I've had a few sales, and
you said it was wordy. Because anything over 40,000 words is a book. And so no one told Bryce Courtney that he couldn't write a book 700 pages long. That's called Four Fires. And it's 700 pages long. No one told him he couldn't write it. So it's just a bit interesting that you're told it's too wordy. So maybe because you can explain things in put too many words in a sentence that you don't actually need, because I tend to do that. And I'll go back and go, I don't actually need to have that end part or that beginning part of that sentence. I can just rearrange it. But
and so it's the same thing with weasel words.
That's interesting. I'd like to know their rationale behind that.
That's what I want to know too. And sort of like
what makes them say that?
That's like, it's a person who's in my opinion is simple.
Okay, so
I will never, let's put it this way, I will never forget the 2014 Sydney Mardi Gras. I will not go into that recent, but
I don't.
Yeah,
that's a whole new
subject. That's a whole But like one thing I did, I was doing a writer's course last year, and I heard about weasel words, which I'd never heard about before.
What was that? Sorry.
Weasel. Little weasel words. Yeah.
Okay.
Like you put in very, you put in actually, you put in. Oh, there's heaps of words.
Them words you can do without. You can change them.
Yeah. And sort
a lot
of
of sentences don't need it.
And like I'll go through, and because when I'm writing, and you probably, because you probably write on the computer like I do, like most people do, you'll
Yes,
actually get the notification that, do you really need this? And you think, hang on, no, I don't. But sometimes
Well,
there,
there's
I'll go through and I'll say with a very heavy heart, and I'll get the thing saying, no, you can't use heavy. It's got to be
you've got to
heavy.
explain. Yeah.
And then
you
I'll
don't
sort
have
of
to have a very heavy. You can just
yeah.
say it's an extremely heavy, or explain what the very is, because very is very wide, very wide. See, there I used it as well.
The thing is that's not a whistle word. That's
a word we chuck in. It's a word we chuck in that we don't actually need in most sentences. It's the word that. The word that is annoying.
Oh, yes.
In a lot of sentences, and I go, Mary that lives down the street. No, it's Mary who lives down the street, not Mary that lives down the street. And so I go, and there's even the word which, as in which one. People use that in place of which, and I see it all the time, and I go, no, it's the wrong grammar. Anyway.
And that's what I've noticed too. Like,
punctuation,
I saw
grammar.
The other day I was actually writing. I mean, that's the thing. Like the other day. Well, here's an example on a social media site. A well-known local council here in Melbourne posted about something. Instead of saying off, they were saying of. So I actually commented about that. Do I get a response or anything like that? No, it's been totally ignored. I think the comment actually disappeared.
Of course.
Because I'm sitting there and I thought, hang on, you're saying there's something in no, it should be off. And it's about 4 or 5 times in the particular document. And I thought, this is wrong. And I was sitting there and I thought, no, I've got to make a comment about it. Because so it's going to happen one day where you actually make a comment and someone's going to say, well, hang on, we want to employ you as our grammar checker, as our social media grammar checker or something like that. So you don't know if it's going to work. But like, as you're saying with the word that, I was doing the same thing. I was doing some writing a few days ago, and I saw that I had the word that in quite a fair bit. And I thought, no, I don't need that. So I had to actually go out and take them all out, and actually looks a lot better. Like I've noticed that with my writing, that as I go along, I'm improving. And it's really a lot of there's another weasel word really that people use.
Really, yes, it's really very that and said. People will say said. Mary said, why not me? Why not me? Joe said. Instead of using a descriptive word, so say Mary questioned, why not me? Well, Joe replied. And said whatever else, the next whatever they said. So and when I read books and they just go, said the next person that said, I'm going, yeah, but there's no description in it, so you can't picture in your head what the person is actually like. It's not portraying what you want your character to be impressed onto the reader. You've just made me go through and do a complete rewrite of a couple of my novels, because like I go through it and I'll say Allison said, why not me, sort of thing. You can say it, but not every single one.
Yeah. But I think coming up there with question, but I think question is a better way of doing it, because it does show.
Mary exclaimed. Mary screamed, Mary freaked out and yelled. There is descriptive word. Try and explain what sort of thing, how they said it, not just that they said it, right? Because you're going to have the exclamation marks and whatever, speech common marks, whatever you want to call them.
Quotation marks.
Yeah, anyway, those marks.
Quotation, yes.
Here I am talking about grammar and I can't even remember what they're called. Okay, so these little
it is Sunday afternoon, so it's Sunday afternoon.
Yes. Yeah. And so, yeah, you know, I could read your stuff if you wanted to, and I can, you know, just underline, you know, little things and say, right, you know, said's been said too many times. And it's not like you can't say said, but you don't want to say said for every single person in the conversation that you're trying to get, because it's actually boring.
It gets repetitive and boring, yeah.
Repetitive and boring.
Okay, my Canadian friend. Because I have my sort of like my editor lives over.
What did you call me? Canadian?
You're my Canadian. I'm not going to say her name because I can't say it, but she's
my. Right, I'm going to say I'm not Canadian.
You know, I know she's actually my BIFF, which is best internet best internet
female friend.
Best internet friend forever. Yeah, but female friend, yeah. Right. Like she's fantastic and all that. Like we'll sit down, we'll chat sort of thing almost every day. And if I have an issue, I'll just email a chat to her and just say, can you do this? Like she works with her husband. So while he's driving along, she'll be sitting there going through saying, okay, underline, she'll come back, okay. So I go through and redo it.
Well, you've got someone at least, yeah.
And I mean, she's fantastic. I mean, she's only 22, 23, and she's like, I'm looking forward to going across to Canada for my 60th. That's the plan. I'm looking forward to going across there and all that, and to get the chance to spend time with her and her husband. Whether they've got a baby at the time or not, I don't know, but that's a separate story. But that's something like those. I won't breach her privacy. But I mean, yeah, like it's like anything. We have. It's good having editors. Like I used to have an editor here in Melbourne, but we sort of, because I was honest with her, our friendship was strained, and she hasn't spoken to me in over 2 years. Because I was honest about something to her, and like, but
you've got to have people edit it. You've got to have someone read it, because there's a lot of people who write books that their book is totally. I mean, I had one guy he wanted to, you know, do a swap or something. So we did an e-swap, and I couldn't even get the book that I chose. It was the most boring story I'd read in a long time, and I couldn't finish it. It had no point. Like, it's like, where's the plot? And I don't know where this is going. It just, you know, it was just didn't have any flow. You just couldn't. There was no going, well, where is it heading? There was no plot. And I thought, I can't read on. And, you know, you're already a quarter away through the book and it hasn't even got, you know,
storyline
where, the plot, it's just gone. It wasn't.
And you've got to have that virtually in the first chapter. You've got to have. You've got to have
grab their attention in the first sentence.
It's like with Mel's journey, I've got it as the start, so it shows that it's actually a boy transitioning to female. So it's going to be, so you know, okay, well, it's going to be the adventure sort of thing, and it's going to continue on. And like, I mean, I know it does get a little bit boring the way that I have done it, but no one's actually commented so far. No one's reviewed or anything like that. But it's like a learning curve. Like for me, I just started writing. I just started writing out of boredom. I just started writing.
Look, if you want to learn to, when you want to learn to write, the only way to do it is to write, and then have someone read it who knows how to, you know, story tell, or, you know, and has that descriptive ability, and you just get them to read it. And you have to be able to hear the criticism. Whether it should be constructive criticism. So you've got to be able to hear that what you wrote can be done better, or you can leave that out. You know, you don't need this this sentence can be shortened. They can question and go, what's this about? I don't quite get what your point. It's like, I don't understand what you're talking about in that paragraph. And you've got to say, oh, okay, thanks for that. You can't become a good writer if you can't hear that there's elements that you have to change. I was quite lucky that there was things I had to change in my book, but there wasn't a hell of a lot. And grammatically, it was perfect, Mike. He's a teacher, and he read it and he says grammatically it's great. Some of the punctuation I had to change, but that's because I had to dictate it as well towards the end, because I had a hand injury and couldn't write, couldn't type. So I had to talk it into something, and it didn't always did the capital letters and the full stops and the commas, and so I had to go in and stick them in. So a few just punctuation basically, and which I was quite happy about. But if that person had said to me, or he did actually, say, or question a few things, and I actually did go back and reword it, but he also pointed out, oh, this is fantastic, this one sentence, and I'll go, oh, great. So you do need someone to read it who knows about writing. So I don't know how much editors cost, but I'd rather just have someone I know will be honest with me read it.
That's right, rather, because
even if it's just so they can tell me that it's boring or not. Someone could say just read, and I'll go, like with my Arnie, I'm with my program, I've just said, can you do it as a participant? Just go through the program and give me feedback on each chapter, each module, so that I can see whether or not it's going to resonate, whether it's not resonate, it will resonate, but whether or not the program, the teaching and stuff, how are they reacting to it? Can I improve it? But yeah, so far she's liked it, and she's getting a lot out of it. So you can have someone just read it as a reader and tell you whether it's any good, or whether they'd, oh, I couldn't read it right through because, I got to this part and, I didn't like, so I could have said to that guy, which I haven't said it because I can't remember his name. I have to go back and go back to the ebook and have a look, but I don't know it off the top of my head, and just go to him, look, the next book you write, you need to get the plot, some sort of, in that first chapter, like you said, there has to be some element that the person wants to read the next chapter and the next chapter that pulls them in, and usually it's the first sentence to paragraph. That's what I was taught in year 8. And one of the stories we had to write a story. We had all these headings, like newspaper headings, that we could pick one and then make a story out of it. And one of them was, woman claims to have given a birth to a mudfish. And so I took that story.
Sounds like a Telegraph story.
Yeah, and I took that story, and my teacher, he read it, and he's a hard marker, right? He read it, and he said he just read the first paragraph, and he said, if that's all she handed in, I'd give that 18 out of 20. So you got to grab them in that in the first instance. It's like you go on an interview, your impression is everything. So if you read it, you go into a book, you need to grab their attention pretty much straight away and get into what, some direction into a plot that you can carry over. But, don't take, half the book to get to the point and say, well, my story was not very long, and it was this young girl, it was her birthday, and she had some money she'd been saving up for a bike, and when she heard this on the news, on the radio, she said to her mum, let's go and see this fish, right? And so her mother and her went to the president's house, and they went and had a look at the fish, and I just, exaggerated things. This little mudfish in a great big massive tank all by itself. And then these people with guns come in and kidnap the fish and try to ransom it. And the lady then says, the lady then says, who claims to have given birth to this mudfish, she turns around and said, "Oh, they it's all fake. I didn't, it didn't really happen, and they can fry the fish if they want to." And so at the end, it was like the young girl says that she, didn't have her food for a second before, never, but she wanted to go and get excited with everyone else and go and see this fish. And so I put this little twist in it. And he ended up giving me 18 out of 20 for the whole story.
That's not bad.
But yeah, so I can tell a story.
But yeah, the thing is, like, everybody can tell a story. It's just how well you can actually come across with telling your story.
It's the description and stuff. It's the descriptive part of your story, because that's what a whole story is all about, is a description, a descriptive way of putting a picture in someone's mind, and you want that to portray the character you envision that you're portraying in your book. You want them to have that image in their mind as well. So and get in with these characters and want to know more about them. So my children's books will say, so I've got this story, and it's a bit of it's all nursery rhyme and fairy tale characters in this story called Dubbed the Murderer. And that's meant to be like, dubbed the Zodiac. So they're just calling this Dubbed the Murderer. So the murderer. Anyway, and the police station is just called the police station, just like little things like that.
It sounds like a movie that I've watched. The police station, the hospital, the dockyards.
Yeah, it's not. And then, and so in this story, there's people turning up dead with a sheep nearby that's been mutilated, right? And so it's it's not. Anyway, that's the word. Sorry, people. Sorry.
It's actually got me thinking.
That's grossed you out.
It's got me thinking.
Grossed you out. Why is this person dead, and why is there a sheep nearby?
That's right.
This is do these have anything in common? And so
they will.
A few people in town, they're dying and going missing, and they're being found in the same situation. A few meters away, there's a sheep there, but they're all being killed as well. And so they're trying to figure out who's doing this, who's the murderer. And there's a hint in it that says, it looks like they've been mauled by an animal, right? So that gives you a hint as to the direction it's going. But when I started writing that book, I actually didn't know who's going to be the murderer, who the murderer is. And I actually wrote part of the second chapter as a little, there was this a post saying, and it was a writing Facebook page, and they said, write a story using the first line of a nursery rhyme. I went, oh, cool. So I used Little Bo Peep. And in this little paragraph, I'm writing, Sergeant Field called to the chief, Bo Peep has lost a sheep and doesn't know where to find him. And the chief goes, oh, tell her to leave them alone and they'll come home wagging their tails behind them. And then he goes, gosh, I just wish you'd get a fence, And so I've taken this little bit of the story, and then I've turned it into this bigger story. So that's part of chapter 2. But the first chapter is Jack Sprat was murdered.
You've got me. You've got,
and then I used some of that nursery rhyme, because they said, do we know anything about Jack Sprat? Oh yeah, Jack Sprat had, ate no fat and his wife ate no lean, and between the two of them they licked the platter clean. And the chief goes, has that got anything to do with the murder? He goes, probably not. So it's just like this big twisty, like there's nursery rhymes, little Red Riding Hood. I said why her name was Little Red Riding Hood, and so yeah, and so that's actually on my blog, but I haven't finished the story yet, but I know where it's going. And so you've got people coming in and they're going, oh, I just want to know who this murderer is. Why is this happening? Why is there a sheep next to this body? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I did initially have some sort of like a religion type connection to it, but I've changed that. It's got nothing to do with religion, but you'll all have to wait and see. So
yeah, I'm excited. I want to read the end. I want to read it.
You can go to my website and read the first 7 chapters.
I'm actually going to do that. Just so you know, we've actually been chatting for an hour. For something like going to be about 15 to 20 minutes. We've been chatting for an hour. I can't believe it. So just want to apologise.
We've been talking about books, and writing. Books, so anyone out there who wants to write a book,
so anybody out there, so I hope you've enjoyed this today. I've actually enjoyed it. It's been great catching up with you, Allison.
It's been a good, interesting, conversation about writing and
and teaching each other. And today, like it is, everybody learns every day. Like you've learned the word about copacetic. I've learned about with said and things like that.
I probably don't remember it ever again. You watch.
Yeah, I can message it to you later on what the word is.
Copacetic.
Copacetic. See, so anybody interested? It is COPACETIC from memory. But I will have a look, and I will message it to you so you know. But before we go, if anybody's interested, are they welcome to connect with you on your social media pages?
Yes, they can. On LinkedIn, I'm under Allison Rose Clark. Oh, you see my little name down there as well. There, so Allison Rose Clark. And so my website is the same. It's www.allisonroseclark.com. So it's pretty simple. So if you look up Allison Rose Clark on LinkedIn, if you look it up on Facebook, you'll get my author page. So you can hook up with me there too. And
And what about your Instagram? Because you're there as a different.
Okay, my
Instagram.
Name.
If you want to reveal that.
Well, no, the Instagram is just different. It's my business name, and it's not my book. It's my business name, and it's Tigerfly Energy Creations. And then people may not remember that. And then it's got so Tigerfly Energy Creations _ARC. So,
that's good. I didn't realise
so
that.
That's a little bit harder for people to remember, but yeah.
Do you have links on your website to your social medias?
I don't know. It's been updated, so at the moment you can still go on to the normal one, but it's being updated behind the scenes.
Which I can update. No,
so,
I can't.
No, I didn't actually. I think I do. I think there is a Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram little icons there.
I know for all three. I know we're connected on all three. So which is good.
Yeah.
I think we're connected on Twitter too. I think we're connected.
Oh no, I'm not on Twitter.
You're not?
I'm not on Twitter. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, it's because somebody posted the other day, and I was trying to work out why you didn't come up. Someone, a mutual friend of ours, our Thursday night mutual friend.
Well, that's why.
Posted. Now,
that's why I'm not on there.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. So anyway,
I've got enough bloody. Sorry, people. I've got enough.
G rating now.
Social medias to keep up with. I'm struggling with what I've got. So anything else outside of what I've already got, that's So I'm not on Twitter or anything else. Just those three.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to finish recording. So,
we better finish recording.
I'll finish recording, then we'll stay back and have a quick chat. So, just want to say thank you to Allison Rose Clark for being my first guest today. It's an honour to have you on. Everybody, I hope you got educated. I hope you all stayed for the whole hour.
And learn some stuff about writing.
Learn some stuff, and which is fantastic. And if anybody's interested in being a guest with me, please let me know, because as long as I have people wanting to be guests on this, I'll keep doing it. I do have a couple of really great people coming up soon, but I don't think they can actually top you, Allison. I don't think they'll be able to. But you never know.
Well, you never know. Just
Yep.
when you have just a friendly chat like this,
Yeah,
and people get to know you and certain subjects, then yeah, I better not talk anymore, because I can talk.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. And at the beginning, what was the one thing? What was the one thing that I said at the beginning before we started recording?
That you were nervous.
I was nervous. You know what? I feel comfortable now. I feel fine. I feel like going for a walk, just to get all that energy out, because I feel just so excited and so happy, and listening to with all your stuff and everything like that.
Yeah.
And
well, I've got to go. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I've got to go and feed my cat.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop the recording, and we'll have a quick chat afterwards. So thanks everybody. I will we'll get this organized soon. So thanks. Okay. So stop recording.